ready for baseball in Game 2 of this 4-game set between the Dodgers and the Cubs. After the Cubs took Game 1 2-0 yesterday, it's Scott Kazmir and Jake Arrieta here in Game 2. Joe Davis with Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garciaparra. And down in the field in what was a pretty sloppy situation just an hour or so ago is Alana Rizzo. What's it like now down there as we get ready, Alana?
Well, I tell you, here about 2 o'clock this afternoon, between 2 and 2:30, they already had the tarp out on the field, Joe. So they certainly anticipated the weather. And it was raining at a pretty good clip for several hours. In fact, the makeshift bullpen for the Dodgers here along the first baseline about 4:30 this afternoon was completely flooded. So the grounds crew doing a nice job here getting the field ready after a half-an-hour delay, putting the quick dry on the field, a bit of a conditioner, and then they're also hosing down the infield to be able to make sure that they eliminate as much dust as possible on the infield. So a lot of pounding of the infield, a lot of trying to rake it out and make it as dry as possible after it rained for a good solid 3.5 hours here today. So we're good to go after a half-an-hour delay. All
right, Alana, we appreciate your work. And there's Scott Kazmir as he gets ready to make the start today. And it's been good lately. Dave Roberts celebrating his birthday, 44 years old today.
A couple good things about today, or I would say that we didn't just get off a plane flight where the regulars arrived at 4 a.m. But a bad thing is you're facing a big time pitcher on the second day.
Well, you look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as it could be a positive. It depends on how they're thinking in that dugout. Because it could be one of those where the bats were so silent, we touched about it, where they should be high-fiving, getting really pumped up to face a quality pitcher out there and really take it to them and just, prove to themselves and go out there, prove to everybody else to get the victory.
Closed captioning tonight is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. It was a beautiful day yesterday for the series opener. It was much windier, though. The flag's still here for Game 2. There he is. Jake Arrieta takes the ball for the Cubs here in Game 2 against the Dodgers. Chase Utley will lead things off against him at the top of this lineup, penned out by Dave Roberts. Corey Seager hits second, and it's Adrian Gonzalez out of the 3 spot because Justin Turner gets the day off. That means Howie Kendrick starts at third base. And if you check the lineups earlier this afternoon, it was different than it is now because Yasiel Puig was a late scratch. They put Carl Crawford in left field and move Grandal up into the 7 spot. Let's take a look at the mini Let's Motor player profile. It's on Jake Arrieta, who's won his last 23 games started, or at least the Cubs have won his last 23 starts, tied for a major league record.
Well, the major league best too, with a 168 batting average against. That's a 138 versus righties as well. So with numbers like that, and we can go on and on about the numbers, which is part of the reason he's 20-0 when you see that record. But what does he do? He comes at you with a fastball that it's in the mid-90s. And the other thing about it, there's some deception because he lands with that landing foot near third base, or through the third base side of the mound. So he kind of throws across his body, which adds some deception and some movement to his pitches. But it's a fastball, it's a cutter, predominantly nearly 80% of the time, those 2 pitches. And he'll mix in a curveball and changeup. He definitely is one of those guys who also knows how to pitch. He's not just a thrower, he's a pitcher, and you got to compete with that.
Yeah, when you talk about the cutter slash slider, it's like a Maeda slider. He can make it bigger, he can make it shorter, he can throw it harder, he can throw it softer. And with every great one, there's a persona. And he has a stare, he has a beard, and he has a mentality that you cannot beat him. He is trying to intimidate the hitter before he even starts his delivery.
It's similar to the way there's a buzz around Los Angeles and Dodger Stadium on the days that Clayton Kershaw starts. It's like that here in Wrigleyville, too. Chase Utley ready to lead it off for the Dodgers here in Game 2. And away we go, strike 1. Utley 0 for 4 in the opener yesterday. A game the Cubs won 2-0 with a 2-run 5th inning against Alex Wood. Dodgers managed only 1 hit. Cubs pitching retired the final 25 batters. 5 different pitchers did so. After Jason Hamill, their starter, left the game following the 2nd inning with cramping.
The one hit didn't have good exit velocity or good trajectory. It was pretty much a pop-up.
Chase Utley takes outside, ball one from Arrieta. And the lone hit came from Justin Turner. Adrian Gonzalez followed that first inning hit with a walk. The Dodgers didn't have another base runner after that.
We always talk about the pitcher setting the tone for your team when he's out there. Well, we also talk about what Chase Utley's been able to do for the offense, setting the tone at the top of the lineup. Right here, working the count 2-2. This is a big pitch right here, but if he's able to get on, that'll really set the tone.
Here comes Arrieta with a 2-2. And Utley cranks the ball to deep right center field. Hayward runs it down. Side of the warning track for out number one. Jake Arrieta, who last lost last July in a no-hitter from Cole Hamels. Since then, 20-0 with a 0.77 earned run average.
Not his best outing in his last one, as he looks to go after Corey Seager, the youngster doing so well.
Yeah, he gave up 4 runs, which was a season high for Arrieta against St. Louis last Wednesday. And lasted only 5 innings, which was a very short night for him.
He said the body and the stuff was real good. Felt like he threw the ball well, but he just made some mistakes. And the Cardinals really capitalized on those mistakes. That's why the poor line for him.
But the best offense in the National League got him 9 runs and kept that streak going. A 9-8 win.
Well, we've been talking about the Dodgers offense with that struggles yesterday, only getting that 1 hit and then trying to find motivation. And I'm saying, well, you're facing Jake Arrieta, that should be motivating to go out there, try to compete and beat him, but also motivating that, remembering how he no-hit them the last time they faced him.